Hey, welcome back. It's Laura at Hyperstamper. I put together this really fun junk journal made from a 1904 book. It's the English Countryside series you'll hear me talk about quite often. And this is quite a good size. It is 6 3/4 by 9. So that's a really good size junk journal. I did have to replace the spine because it was spineless. But it's got the original back and original front. And this one is called Shakespeareland, which is obviously a town in the UK. Here we go here, the original first pages. And as always, everything in here is authentic, antique, and vintage ephemera, and is absolutely stuffed with page after page after page of inserts and original ephemera. So before I put it in my Etsy shop, I will give you a little tour. Look at this beautiful original plate on here of that beautiful countryside. Little cottages, homes there by the little river with waterfalls and little ducks. It's quintessential. It's wonderful. So again, this is 1904, original first page here. And this is pretty special. And the reason I'm adding this William Shakespeare mini journal is because it's Shakespeareland. So this is from 1889. It is a German version of William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. And so what I did is I just turned it into a little mini journal. So I added lots of antique paper and little elements, some little pockets. That's antique piece there. And then some little inserts here, little plates from the early 1900s, page titles from antique books. It's just a sweet little extra that you get inside this junk journal, and I just thought the theme was fun. This is a really cool piece with fonts from the early 1900s. Just really fun piece. So that slips into this pocket that I made out of a vintage cross stitch piece. This is the spine of an antique book that again was too damaged to use, but I kept the spine. And then that is the original first plate of the book here. And then that is actually Shakespeare's tomb and memorial. So it is, the town was named after Shakespeare. This is just a sweet little piece from the early 1900s on smocking. And this is a 1940s Theatre World magazine page. I love this cursive writing here. And that is from a early 1900s book as well. This is also early 1900s. From Girls Own Annual, but look at how sweet this page is. The spring styles for children. So perfect time of the year, right? And then just all patterns, but oh man, they're so fun. They're so fun to look at and read. This is from a vintage book. We've got the three bears here. And because it's kind of cottagey and English house on the cover, I added this wonderful page here, also from the early 1900s. Look at these beautiful English cottages. Isn't that wonderful? So kind of a fun little, it's not everything in here is cottage themed, but I am collecting for a cottage journal in the future. That's a 1927 piece down there from the My Book series. And just a really fun vintage children's book page with that beautiful little rainbow there. More Theatre World magazine. That is from a 1950s recipe book. And just a little side pocket. This is from a vintage 52-year-old Wildflowers of America book. Look at how pretty these are. Just really lovely. I hand stamped that paper there. And this is very cool. Apparently this is Stan Gardner, and that is from July 1932, a baseball pick. You can see that came right out of an old photo album. Why somebody wouldn't want to keep this about a family member is beyond me, but so Stan's looking for a new home. Got a little kids putting Valentine's in a Valentine's box down there from a vintage book. This is a bookkeeping instruction book, early 1900s. Doily book from the 50s. I love this. Look at that beautiful picture there. This is another vintage children's book page that I added journaling space in the back. And we have a triple pocket here. And so this is a little waterfall journaling spot here. And then this is one of my 1920s eye loops. Look at that. Aren't they cool? You can see the stitching here that's holding them all in place. Never been used. I love these. I have a few more, so I'm excited to continue using them. There we go. Another little cute image there. Vintage children's page here with the mom and the little girl going to the toy store. Here we've got Alice in Wonderland from a vintage book. And here's another, that's from the 1920s down there, children's book. And look at this fun one, How to Make Fabric Flowers. So I actually, it's from the 50s, right? But I thought I would really like to learn how to make fabric flowers. So I took a whole bunch of pictures of this before I slipped it in here so I could try to make them myself. 1927 catalog page here, ladies fashions. I would wear that today, I kid you not. And here is one of my vintage Raggedy Ann book pages. Isn't that great? Sneaking out the window there. So much fun. Another one there on the flip side. There's more of that cursor writing from the antique book, American literature. And then this is from the early 1900s. And we've got the botanicals there and antique paper on the back for more places to journal. And I made this tag out of a vintage, very, very old vintage file tabs that would have separated the file folders. So I turned that into a tag and put a vintage dictionary image on there. There we go. That is a beautiful 1904 as well, Freckles book. I love the imagery they do here. Here's another one of these wonderful, whoopsie, that I have to glue down. It's come off of its backing. This is one of the 1923 Stickum books. Not sticker, but Stickum. And you can see where the children have cut the little image out and matched it up to where it belongs in the book. So I just love that. And here is a 1950s original bingo card. It's well worn, but really cool. You can journal on the back or just have all kinds of fun ways of upcycling that into something amazing. And then this here is a handwritten research card. So room to journal on the back of that too. That's probably done in the 20s or 30s. Then we've got this great edu card. And M for mailman. Isn't that great? That's so old and so kitschy and cool. Another vintage children's book page here. More Raggedy Ann here. And then I've got this wonderful 1936 Paris France Almanac page. So we've got the front and back. And of course that is during wartime. So we've got the images down here. And we've got some fun bits. You can put it in Google Translate and see what they're saying. That wonderful French publication. This is just a great 1957 title page there from a book that you can journal on. I made that flowered in antique paper. This paper here is so thick and wonderful, but it's from the 1850s. More of that cursive writing from the American Literature series. This I just loved because some little child took their little paint, you know, where you add the water onto the little squares and you paint. So they've done that with this here, made the dresses purple. And I added antique paper from this book, actually, this English cottage book, and made it into a pocket and a journaling space. And that is, of course, from Pennsylvania, a vintage souvenir napkin. And I'm going to slip that back in there, and you can tuck even more things in here as you like. There we go. Whoop. That goes right there. Sweet little vintage image down there. This is also vintage here, little craft book, how to make paper flowers. So if you want to make craft flowers, there's a lot of ideas in here. This is very old plate. That is the Port of Dublin. More of that same craft. This is a really cool vintage postcard. I am going to be honest that I'm not exactly sure where it's from, but it could be Germany, maybe? I can find out. If somebody wants to know, I can find out. Just leave me a message down below. And then look at this sweet little vintage image here of this little boy in the meadow with the birds. And I added antique paper on the back there as well. And then over here is one of these vintage school book worksheets that a student did. I love these. This student got an A- on this side and a C- on this side. So not happy. Sad, happy. I just love it. I love children's workbook pages. I made this little journaling tag out of a book cover, antique book cover that didn't make it. And here's the sweet little, look at the bunny opening the cage door, vintage children's book page. And then here's a great vintage map. Look at that. Durham County, and that is English. Little pocket here out of vintage paper. And that brings us to the end. I hope you love it as much as I loved making it. You can find it at hyperstamper.etsy.com along with all of my other journals. And please subscribe. Come back soon. Bye for now.